Hello, this is a situation. You are using Django or Flask or some web framework, and you are in a position where you have to present a PDF to your web page with additional functionality to scroll through the pages and to zoom in and zoom out. How do you do it? Well, one of the simplest things you can do is that I think every current modern web browser has functionality that will allow you to go directly into your HTML and link a PDF the same way you would link to, say, an image. So let me bring this over here. Let's actually go to it and explain what I'm saying. If you go to your .html file, I forget what the HTML tag is, but there is a tag that will allow you to embed a PDF type object in your HTML, and then it will present to the screen its native PDF browser. By browser, I mean the object that you'll use to browse to the PDF. But there's a few issues with this approach. The first one being different browsers will display the PDF differently. You're also going to have sizing issues and responsive issues, so it may not scale appropriately based on your window size. Another issue is, again, what if you're not working with PDFs in the HTML, but instead you're grabbing them from, say, a database or from some other location? What do you do? As you can see here, I figured it out. I have a PDF on screen. You can scroll through the pages and you can highlight as well, as you can see. There are a few caveats before we get into more of the code. The first one being, this is not the final product, the one that we are talking about here. This was essentially the test phase or the version 0, I would say. The actual implementation is in a different code that I've developed, but I cannot show that. So I'm not going to show that. You're just going to trust me on this part. Does it have bugs? Yes, all the bugs are on this version and not on the version that I've shipped as working code. Anyway, the actual version, everything works. But you can figure it out yourself after we go through everything, or maybe I'll just be really cool and I'll do an updated version on the code that actually works, no errors. I think I'll do that. Anyway, so as I said, we can scroll through the pages, we can highlight, but as you can see, it does give a little issue because of bugs. But not important. The most important is, how do you get the PDF to be displayed on screen? Here's the approach. You use a cool JavaScript library called PDF.js. This will allow you to create a PDF object in your website. And that is the object that we just saw on screen. Now, I will refer or reference a link to PDF.js somewhere. Just remind me. In your views, before we go to the views, let's say right now you can see that as.pdf is just in some folder. But this also works in version 1 from a PDF that's stored in the database. There's a lot more code to be written. Well, not a lot more, maybe about 10 more lines here, like for error checking and stuff. But it's all very manageable. So if you have a hand at Django, at Flask, at web development in general, you will be fine. This is relevant, do not worry about that. So we have some data JSON object, which is just using the dumps function. From JSON, you import dumps. We'll then create, within the dumps object, we have a PDF URL string being mapped to the value that refers to the PDF document. So static blog as.pdf. Our response object is just within quotes blog as.pdf. We then have data, and then do not worry about form. This is just the data that is sent via the view to the HTML document so we can work with it. From here, we go to it. We use this really cool Django tag called JSON script. This will allow you to pass data from your HTML file to a JS file. So the data comes from views, goes to your HTML. From your HTML, you can pass it to the relevant JS file, your JavaScript file, which in this case is the JS blog assignment view.javascript. Again, works on any PDF, not just assignments, okay? If it's a PDF, it will work. As far as I know, I've tested it on the largest, I think it was a 64, 63 page PDF. And then we come to the most important part, your JavaScript file. About 253 lines of code. Version 1 has a lot more code, but that's a story for a different day. This was the bug-filled version. Just your general, you grab the document. I had to do some text altering here, replacing, splitting it, etc., because I had an issue. Doesn't matter. This just ensures that our PDF location is set correctly. And here's the important part from line 34. Actually, the first most important part is that I should go back to the HTML file and this section here. This allows us to use PDF.js functionality or the library in our own JS file. I have the DOM content loader. You generally don't need this, but if you are loading from your database, then yes, you're going to need this because the data doesn't load at the same time. So ensure your DOM content is loaded before you run any of the functions in here. Anyway, all of this is documented in PDF.json, so I'm not going to go through it in detail. You'll need to create your global worker options. Like this is a must. This is not a must, this is just something I created. It's the initial state. I don't know JavaScript all that well. So I was figuring things out as I wrote code. Obviously, you can see a lot of debugging going on just to ensure that what I was doing was actually working. Well, what I was doing, why it wasn't working, and trying to figure that out. Initially, PDF document is set to null, and as you can see, I've written documentation. This will later hold the actual PDF document object. Current page is the first page, zoom is by default 2, and PDF URL is set to PDF location, and this is PDF location, okay? And where did that come from? Well, it came from get element by ID PDF data. And if you look at our PDF.html, here it is here, via that Django tag. And apart from that, you can see there's a lot going on here. This ensures that PDF.js globally is available. Try loading in a PDF, okay? Set the worker, again, this is a must. And then we grab all our objects, and after you're done with all of this, again, it's a lot of code, and I don't feel like going through it, but I will definitely reference it somewhere. Maybe later I'll show the version 1 that has everything neatly done. And then you will eventually have a really cool PDF document that you can go through. And that's it. And version 1, the final version. This is the one that works really well. You have your buttons up here that offer the additional functionality, so you can scroll through pages if there is no more pages to scroll through. Obviously, the buttons will not allow you to attempt to access a page that does not exist. Hitting the plus button essentially increases the size of the page as it should, and hitting the minus, well, the magnifying glass with the minus in its center will decrease the size of the PDF, essentially zooming out.